My name is Emily Ives. I'm a senior IT support engineer at Linesight. I've been here for 2 years now, and I'm currently managing the portfolio of projects within the ITSO team and alongside change management and the day-to-day user support. So today I'm going to go through who Linesight are, the importance of effective process management, what the JML application is. I'm going to give you a demo of the application, and then I'm going to go through the benefits of JML. Please remember to add any questions you have into the chat box throughout the presentation, and I'll be answering those at the end. So who are Linesight? Linesight are a global construction consultancy that have been in business since 1974. They're a provider of global cost management and project management, and they've got locations across the globe in EMEA, APAC, and the Americas. They currently have over 1,350 employees. So this is a map just displaying where our global activity currently lies. We're constantly growing and opening up new offices. The importance of effective process management. So why was JML needed to improve our process management? So currently we had too many people using too many different tools, and it was time to simplify it. So we had members of different departments all using individual manual trackers, but there was no integration between them. So we had a large volume of data going between the departments, such as the talent acquisition team, the people and organizational development team, payroll, IT, travel, line manager, office managers. So this was a lot of data, and this was a lot of data which required a lot of people to send emails with notifications of any updates, and it was quite easy for details to be missed between different departments. Company growth, with an approximate growth of 8% year on year, the volume of data is constantly growing, so issues are becoming more frequent due to human error. We need this to be a frictionless experience for new employees. One misstep can impact an employee's first impression of Linesight. So, for example, if we have a new joiner who's starting in a different office location, and we've arranged, for instance, accommodation, the flights to fly them out there, but we forget to inform the travel team that we need to book them car hire, then that means that you could have an employee on their first day who's then expected to either pay an expense car hire, or there'll be additional complications with trying to get the company to pay for that on the day. Our environment's not static, and there's constant changes, so it requires us to be able to keep everyone up to date. So what is JML? So JML stands for Joiners, Movers, Leavers, and this is a quick-based application with a simple interface for non-technical users for complex data management. So it consists of custom views to meet the requirements of each role. So we have a HR role, we have a IT role, and we also have an office manager role. It also facilitates asset management, so we can record what equipment is allocated to particular employees, and it provides daily update notifications for when any of these details change. And it has a sense check-in on the onboarding progress, which allows the departments to see where within the process the IT build is, so that they're able to update the employees. So now I'm just going to run through the demo of JML just to show you how this works. I'm going to begin the demo by going through each of the customized views per department. So to begin with, the IT team has a homepage based on their specific workload. So they're in charge of joiner builds and ensuring that leavers accounts are disabled and equipment is returned. So we have a few features on the homepage, which I'll go into more detail later, such as an employee search, the list of my joiner builds, the list of my leavers, this week's global leavers, and some trackers. The My Joiner Builds report is embedded onto the homepage and details the specifics about any upcoming joiner requests, including the name, when it's required, what equipment needs to be set up, and whether they're a non-starter just in case they withdraw and there's actions that need to be stepped out of, such as if, for instance, an account's already been created, we may need to go in and disable the account before we close off that joiner record. So this gives a summary to the engineer when they sign in the morning in terms of what their workload is. So now I'm going to click edit on one of these records so we can take a look at how we record action and tasks. In the top section of the employee record, I can see any details which are relevant to them regardless of where they are through the life cycle, so whether they're a joiner, a leaver, or an active employee. And this will include things such as their location, their line manager, their job title, and any contract end dates. We've also got some trackers down here. So for example, the joiner tracker here, this details anything relevant to the joiner request. So things such as what equipment's required, whether any Linesight branding material is required, and then also some task fields that the IT engineer is able to fill in, which will automatically update this status. So if I update the account created to today, this will automatically update the equipment build status to show that the build is in progress. And again, if I update these, then the equipment status updates alongside. Once I tick this box, which is the IT setup complete, that will mark the record as completed. And then when I save and close this record, now that I've saved it, you can see that Mary's record is no longer here because it's been marked as complete. GML also allows for equipment to be added to a user record. So say, for example, Mary has been set up with a new laptop ready for her to join. So I might need to go directly to their record. So for example, if I type in Mary's name into the employee search, then I come back to Mary's record. So along here, we have an equipment tab. Now I can see that I've actually already set up Mary with a Lenovo ThinkPad. So this is showing in her record. But I've got the option to add employees equipment. So say I want to add a phone for Mary, all I do is select the option in use. I can type in a serial number. If I know the warranty, then I can enter the warranty date. And then it's an Apple iPhone 15. And then I click save and close. And now in the employee equipment records, I can also see the iPhone 15 that's now assigned to Mary. So back on the home page, we have the My Levers report, which is any levers which have any outstanding actions that are assigned to the engineer that's signed in. And then we also have this week's global levers. So this is kind of like a global overview of everyone who's leaving this week. And this is useful because if you've got an engineer who goes out sick unexpectedly, you've still got a view of who needs to be disabled so you don't leave an account open, which then becomes a security risk. And then similarly to the joiners, if we go and have a look at actioning tasks on a lever by clicking the edit button. In the levers tracker, we also have additional action fields for disabling the account and confirming that IT equipment has been received. So say, for instance, I can see that the account needs to be disabled. I go ahead and disable the account, and then I can just record that I've disabled this. This updates the lever status to state that the account's been disabled, but we're still awaiting the equipment to be returned. I can then fill in the date on the IT equipment received to state that we have now received the equipment back. So again, this now states that the lever process is completed, and I can click save and close, and then that will drop off of my levers list. The HR homepage allows you to look at joiners and levers on a global basis or by region. The benefit of having these two options is because the members of that team will usually work on one specific region, but there may be instances that they need to look at, for example, someone who is being onboarded into a project that's based in a region, but they're working remotely from another region. So I'm going to click into the EMEA record here. If I want to click into the joiner records, this gives me a view of all the upcoming joiners. So I might not necessarily want to look at the entire list, and I want to see who's upcoming. So for example, I can look at month, and I want to look at next month. So adding this filter then brings this down. So it's just Mary who's due to start in the next month. And then if I want to go into Mary's record, I just need to select the edit button. So we're back in Mary's record again, but this time we're looking at this from the HR custom view. So each of the joiner trackers, they're built in a way that details the tasks for that particular department. So whereas the IT team would have had options for recording that they've created accounts and set up laptops, the HR team will have alternative fields such as the option to tick that they've received a signed contract, and then to be able to state, for instance, whether say payroll's been set up. So all of the different steps that are required before someone joins, they can fill in on this tracker. Should the joiner decide that they wish to withdraw from the process and no longer join, the HR team must tick this box here that says non-starter.
and then save this record. What this does once this record is then saved is it sends an email notification to the IT team to state to them that this particular joiner is no longer going to be starting. And then if an account's been created, they can disable the account. If equipment has been sent out, then they can retrieve it or they can reuse it if it's based in the office. Now back to the EMEA HR homepage, and we can go into the levers. The custom view for levers for the HR tracker details all of the different steps required by the HR team when offboarding an employee. So they also get a visibility of the status of the lever process for IT, so they can see if, for example, there's outstanding IT equipment or whether the account's not been disabled. So this gives them visibility of what the IT team are doing. In the event this is an example where we have an active employee who needs to be terminated with immediate effect, we cannot wait until the following import, which is a daily import, to update that this person will be leaving. So the HR team have a button here called Terminate Immediately. And what this will do is it will send out a notification to IT to let them know to cut off access immediately. And then it will mark them as a leaver, so then they'll have a leaver record. The final view is the office manager view. So this is set up in a way that allows office managers to see who regional joiners are. Regional joiner visibility is required because you may have offices which don't have office managers, and another office manager from a nearby location may be responsible for carrying out their tasks. So my levers tracker is used to display any levers in the office of the office manager who sign into the system. So this will allow them to see any upcoming levers within the location that they're based, as this will allow them to ensure that they retrieve any keys or fobs for building entry when the employee leaves. Now let's have another look at Mary's record. So if we click edit, this will now bring us to the office manager view. So again, this is set up slightly differently to the IT and the HR views, and it's based on any tasks that office managers are required to complete prior to someone onboarding. This helps the office managers to ensure that they've completed all the steps in the onboarding process from the office manager's point of view. And now I'm going to return to the home page and then take a look at the lever example. Now, when I go into the lever tracker, I can see that I'm awaiting for John to leave. So this is still awaiting his leave date. The account's not been disabled. We haven't received the equipment back. But I do also have an option to enter the return tracking ID. This is used in the instance that the employee is leaving an office and returns their equipment to the office manager where there's no IT staff base. The office manager would then ship the equipment back to an IT manned office, and the return tracking ID is used to inform the member of IT that the equipment is due to be received. Back on the home page, you can see a report and issue button. As JML is currently in ongoing development, as it's just moving into phase 2, which is to include the movers process, there may sometimes be additional features that users request, and we've added an option to allow people to either report issues, but it can also be used to log requests for additional features. They can then enter the details of their requests, and then it can be assigned to me, and then I review these, and then we implement any fixes or additional feature requests.
So next I'm going to go through the benefits of JML and what impact this has had on Linesight. So the first benefit is fewer tools. So departments were using different tools to track employees, resulting in data being misaligned. This was a result of updates which take place on one tracker not being aligned with another tracker. So for example, if there's a change of start date and the P&OD team update their tracker, if they don't inform the IT team, then IT are under the impression that the employee is due to start on another date. The solution that we've put in place is the departmental trackers have been decommissioned and they've been replaced with a singular application, which is JML. So this has improved the data integrity as updates are visible to all of the departments. Feedback from Eleonora, who is an office manager in our London office. She says that JML informs me of what new starters I am due to expect in the coming weeks and months. Rather than having to check in with individuals in different departments, I can just click into there and all the necessary information is available for me to use. The next benefit of JML is the notifications are automated. So the challenge we were having is that manual email notifications were time consuming and some recipients were missed from important updates. So This was taking a lot of time from the P&OD team, who could have been using this for other tasks, but it was also possible that the particular recipients were being missed from the emails and then therefore not receiving the updates. So the solution to this is that we've automated the email notifications using triggers within QuickBase to send emails when updates occur. So the way this works is we import the data on a daily basis, and the application looks to see if there's been any changes, and based on what changes happen, it sends out a notification to the office manager, the line manager, IT, and the P&OD team. So the impact that this has had is that the P&OD team and the IT team have had more time to spend on other tasks, and all of the required email notifications are being received by who they're intended for. So Diana, who is a member of the P&OD team, she states that JML helps to unlock efficiency. Automating notifications saves invaluable time, allowing us to focus on what truly matters. So the next benefit of JML is that there's reduced human error margin. So the challenge we were experiencing is that copying details between different tools resulted in misspellings of employees' names when their accounts were being set up. As a solution, JML includes data exports from Cornerstone, which is our HR system, which are then imported into QuickBase, into the JML system. And this works as a one true source for the data, meaning that all the teams are looking at these same data. The impact of this is an enhanced onboarding experience for the employee because they're not facing issues such as errors within their name, which means that their logins aren't working as expected. So Paul from the IT team states that in my experience, having to copy details across multiple systems to keep everyone updated is where timely mistakes are made. It's clear here that our JML solution greatly reduces this due to its integration across our platforms and departments within Linesight, allowing us to efficiently keep our JML process moving. So the next benefit of JML is that it allows for issues to be tracked. So the challenge that we were facing is that the logging of issues that may cause delays to onboarding were manual and only visible to IT. IT were using an Excel spreadsheet to record any instances where there were delays, such as the request being sent in outside of SLA. And this was not visible to the other departments, which meant that we were unable to look into what the root cause was to resolve that, to prevent it from happening again. So the solution that we've implemented is that we've got calculated fields within JML, which captures requests that are outside of SLA, that are awaiting HR documentation and nearing the start date. So we were able to then ensure that the recurring issues were easy to identify, and then we could approach them with problem management to allow us to resolve the issue at the root. So Simon, who is a member of the IT team, states that issue tracking allows us to identify trends that cause delays and resolve the underlying causes. So the next benefit of JML is progress updates. So the challenge that we were facing is that P&OD were spending a considerable amount of time manually asking for updates on IT on whether the laptop build was completed and when it would be sent out to an employee. The solution we've put in place is that the calculated status fields are used to show the build status and the leaver status as well. So this means that a member of the P&OD team or an office manager could sign into the system, and then they'd have visibility on whether this was completed without having to go and locate the member of IT who was assigned to this and having to manually ask them for updates frequently. The impact that this has had is that the P&OD team can look this information up in JML, allowing them to provide new employees with expected timelines, and in turn, that enhances the employee onboarding experience. So Tara, who is a member of P&OD, she states that JML provides real-time build updates, which allows us to keep employees up to date on when equipment will be ready. So the next benefit of JML is asset management. So the challenge we were experiencing was that there was no existing tool to capture which assets were held by employees, making it difficult to retrieve leavers equipment. The solution that we've put in place is that the equipment tab allows allocation of equipment to an employee to make it clear what needs to be returned. There are also reminder emails to line managers for what outstanding equipment that leavers have, which then requires them to then contact the employee and ensure that these are returned. The impact that this has had is the company assets are now being returned when employees are offboarded. We've also recovered a volume of outstanding assets that can be reissued to other employees. Andrew, who's another member of the IT team, states that information is in one place, so it's easy to log new joiner equipment and amend current users' equipment if they require replacements, ensuring asset tracking remains up to date. So just to cover the economic benefits that JML has had, since implementing JML, there's been a 70% increase on the return of assets at €800 a laptop. The 70% increase on return of assets equals approximately €45,000 based on 150 leavers per annum. The outstanding laptop retrieval of €800 a laptop on approximately 13 outstanding devices totaled at €24,000 of company assets that have been returned since we've implemented JML. And it's saving approximately 30% time for P&OD and the talent acquisition teams. And based on an average salary of €65,000 for 50 employees, we're looking at €975,000 saving per annum, which is €18,750 per week. Thank you for taking the time to attend this session. I hope that you found value from this. If you're able to pop any questions that you have into the Q&A box, then I'll be answering these now.